Might be live. It never tells me when we're live, so we could be live now.
Oh, we're live.
Are we live? Okay, we are live. Says it's just setting it up on the other end right now, but hey, we're live. Welcome back. I think this is our. Well, no, we did a podcast a month ago, so we're back. Talk draft this time, not free agency. How you doing, Cody? What are you drinking over there tonight?
Excited. I'm excited for draft season, baby. Let's see. This is an Ellicottville Weed Whacker IPA. I just had my first sip of it. Wasn't great on the first sip, but maybe it's one of those that after a few it settles in.
Weed Whacker IPA doesn't sound too great, actually. I'm going with a heady topper over here from Alchemist.
That sounds good.
It is. All right, Packers draft. We are 1 week away. 7 days. This time next week, we'll be watching the draft. Caleb Williams will probably be a Bear at this point. A week from now, the consensus number one pick.
Do
But
you think he'll paint his nails like blue and orange?
absolutely, absolutely. We'll talk more about the Bears and Caleb Williams next week. We won't have too much else to talk about during the 3 hour window until Green Bay's pick at 25. So we'll save most of the banter with the Bears and the Vikings and Lions for next week. It's all about Green Bay Packer draft needs tonight. New defensive coordinator, Jeff Hadley. Guy expect probably a defensive heavy draft in this draft. I'm going to show a mock draft a little bit later. I'm kind of defensive centric. Our offense showed a lot of promise last year. Receivers not a big need for us. Running back potentially. We do got some line holes that we need to fill, and we haven't probably find the quarterback of the future in Jordan Love. So besides patching up few small holes in the offense, I expect a pretty defensive centric draft a week from now.
Yeah, and that's certainly Gutekunst's MO. He does tend to lean defense with his higher picks, and new D coordinator gonna have specific needs to fit the system. Goot already went out and signed Xavier McKinney at safety, but there's gonna be more needs for Halfley. So would not surprise me at all if we go defense heavy. But
We
yeah,
talked about McKinley in our last podcast as like the dream target, but we figured there'd be no way we were going to get McKinney. Just going to be too expensive. He's going to be the most expensive. And you have to overpay him. We did. Goot went out. I think he's making like 17, $18 million a year, which is puts him in the top three, I believe, for safeties across the league. But we have our defensive centerpiece there in the secondary with McKinney pairing him with Jair as the top corner.
dude, and he's only 24. Like he's still got his best ball ahead of him.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty rare for a player of that pedigree, an all-pro basically, hitting the market at 24, and the Giants didn't tag him. Like really surprising move. The Giants didn't tag him. His best ball's ahead of us, ahead of him. So that checks off one big need from the secondary. We still need other safety help. We let all of our safeties basically walk last year. So we're probably going to be taking another safety. I probably expect a couple safeties taken in the draft just to get some more depth in that room.
Yeah, I mean, we just need bodies in the room because right now it's McKinney and last year's 7th-round pick, Anthony Johnson Jr. Other than that, you're just looking at like undrafted free agent guys like Benny Sapp. Rudy Ford is still a free agent. I could see us trying to bring him back cheaply.
I think we're probably waiting on the draft to see how the draft falls before we
Yeah.
make the move.
But yeah, I would definitely expect at least 2 safeties picked in this draft.
Yeah.
And I think a similar area of need, safety and linebacker are kind of the 2 most obvious holes on the team right now.
Yeah.
We released Campbell to get the cap savings, so that leaves Quay Walker. Isaiah McDuffie was like a part-time starter last year.
Showed promise. I think he'll
I
be a
guess
good
we're
rotational piece, but you don't feel
sorry.
great
What'd
being
you
a starter. I said McDuffie played good in spot starts when we had to. I think he's definitely going to be part of the rotation. I don't feel super comfortable having him as a starter, but
Yeah.
he
I
could.
mean, I feel like he could be a solid piece, but he's never going to be a difference maker. And you know, even if he plays great, that's two linebackers. We're switching to a 4-3. We don't even have a third starter right now.
I don't know.
I mean, Eric Wilson is probably the best candidate, and he's been a special teams guy his whole career. So yeah, I expect linebacker going to be another big target. And then the last one, this kind of flies under the radar a little bit, where not everyone is calling this a hole, but offensive guard. I know that Sean Ryan split time with John Runyon last year, and that they were kind of in this unconventional like platoon where they were rotating series and everything. Uh, but when you really look at like the overall snap counts for the year, and when you look at like who they relied on in the fourth quarter of playoff games, John Runyon was our starter. So we've lost a starter on the offensive line, and we're banking on a part-time player taking a step. Maybe he does, but I know I would feel more comfortable if Jordan Love has a stout offensive line in front of him. So we need reinforcements there, if for nothing else, depth, because guys are going to get injured.
Yeah, we are getting some players back. I know Caleb Jones should be back this year, and they were pretty high on him. But we lost a lot of pieces along that line. I am excited to see what Sean Ryan can provide. It like he seemed to be the odds-on favorite going. I thought he had a great training camp, and then
Mm-hmm.
he took over at times during late in the season, and I thought he played great when we gave him his chances. I expect them. I don't expect them to just give him the job. He's going to have to earn it again, but I expect him to fully be a probably the front runner potentially to start
Yeah.
at right guard for us going into the year. And we'll see how the draft shakes out. I expect us to probably draft multiple defensive linemen. I know Goot has his little thing that he does where he likes to just like double down on positions on like day three and stuff. Would not surprise me to see us take a lineman early and then also double down on day three with all those picks on day three and just pick up like two or three, maybe offensive linemen just to add some pieces. And then hopefully
You
one of them emerges.
you you meant offensive lineman, right?
Yeah, did I say defensive lineman? I meant offensive lineman. I misspoke.
Okay, yeah, because
It's
that's another interesting one that a lot of I hear a lot of chatter where people think that we're gonna take a defensive lineman high because I mean we've got both Kenny Clark and TJ Slayton's contracts are up next year. Uh, so I can see that perspective, but then you also have to consider like for two defensive tackle spots, we've got Kenny Clark, TJ Slayton, Devontae Wyatt, uh, Colby Wooden, Carl Brooks. Like maybe they'll kick him out to D end. I don't know, but like there's a lot of bodies right now. Where you like, yeah, if there's an excellent value, I could see the pick happening. But it's the D line and how it takes shape in the new 4-3. That's going to be one of the most interesting things to watch develop this summer.
I think. I mean, I'm going to show you the mock draft here in a second. I think we could only take one defensive lineman in this whole draft with all of our picks. Like, I don't think we need to go more than maybe one or two. We're about to add players like Preston Smith back to the line. Rashawn
Mm-hmm.
Gary's back to the line, which he played in college. All those other guys who played on the line in 3-4, they're some might move out once in a while, but they're getting condensed down. It's almost going from like three down linemen to two in a
Yeah.
way. No, you're going to the 4-4-3 because your edges are now coming in on the line.
Yeah, your edges, you got Gary
Yeah,
Smith,
you
Van
said,
Ness,
yeah,
Enigbare
Van
hurt.
Ness. Yeah,
Um, I I could see us trying to take a pass rusher just because it's a premium position,
mm-hmm.
and Enigbare being hurt, like maybe they think they'll need a fourth guy in the rotation. But yeah, it's let's get into it, man. Like we've pretty much covered all the positions at this point.
Here, I'll go over this, Cody. You hop in if you've heard of these players, watch tapes on them. I didn't go too crazy with my analysis because I just want to get through this and get to the bread and butter, which is our mock draft. But here's my predictions for what I feel will be. Um, I'd be okay with this draft happening. Let's see here. All right, can you see it on your end? Is it coming through?
Yes, sir.
All right. I went back and forth with this first overall pick a lot because
Ooh.
I think what we do in the first round is going to dictate what we do on day 2 and day 3. It's going to like shape it. I will tell you right now, I would love Cooper DeJean. That's who I would love to take here. I think he's off the board by 25. I see him going. He killed it on his pro day. I think he goes 20 to Pittsburgh. We would have to move up to like 19 to get him. I could see us trading with Miami at 21 if he's there, maybe. But Marius Mims has been a player who's been standing out to me. He's right around that range. Uh, Premier athlete, a 9.5 RAS score. He didn't give up a single sack or pressure, I think, in college, but his weaknesses is very limited. He only had 8 starts. But seemingly, he looks like a goop pick. Best football is clearly ahead of him. He's a little bit of an unknown, but you could have a perennial all pro player here if he pans out. Just elite immeasurables. And he's fast too. He was like 5.15 40 or something like that. There no that's another. That was Paul, which I'll get to later. But have you heard about anything on Mims or thoughts?
Yeah, so
I
Mims,
guess.
I did not have the chance to actually watch any tape for Mims, but my impression of him is size wise, he's a bit of an outlier for what the Packers like. They generally try to keep their linemen closer to like the 310 to 320 range. Now that's not strict, there is wiggle room everywhere, but like 340 is big for a Packers lineman, as is 6'8". Um, but that elite RAS score, the 9.5, that shows that just because he's a big boy doesn't mean he can't move.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely a guy who, like, if he puts it all together and stays healthy, like, yeah, all pro potential. But that's what you're drafting right there. You're drafting potential. For
I
me
do
personally, 8 starts,
know.
I'd feel, and he's got injury history, I would feel very nervous about spending the first round pick on him. But I also wouldn't hate it because I love reinforcing the trenches.
We also brought in Tyler Guyton, the tackle from Oklahoma, on a visit on one of our top 30 visits. Gotta imagine he could be a look there too. I could see them go. He might fit the Packer bill a little bit more. I just went with Mims because I feel like with the value and also the news that we ideally would like to move Zach Tom inside the center, that reinforces the need for tackles. And I think we probably take a couple tackles in this draft. If that's the route we want to go, we probably will
Well,
come out of this draft with 2 tackles in this draft. So I see us prioritizing the tackle early.
so I think there's a couple interesting things to talk about there. And before I dig into the meat of that, I will also point out that Mims is a Georgia Bulldog, and Gutekunst has shown in the past he loves drafting from that Georgia program.
Yep.
So that does play in favor of this pick. Um, Now you brought up the news, kind of like a leaked story that multiple people in the Packers organization think that Zach Tom could be a Hall of Fame caliber center. Um, and Gutekunst, like from the day he drafted him, he's always said that he thought center would be
Best
Tom's
position.
best position. I'm inclined to agree as well. Just like his body type, he's not as big as you would expect a tackle to be, but he's got the elite agility and movement that could play really well at center. So I wouldn't mind that move at all if we get an adequate tackle replacement. But financially speaking, Zach Tom has already proven that he can play tackle at a very high level, and he's just going to get better. So when his contract is up in 2 years, the highest paid center in the league makes, I think, on par with like the 16th highest paid right tackle. It's a huge discrepancy. And if you're Zach Tom, his agents is gonna be like, dude, you're playing tackle. Like, if you want to make money, you're playing tackle.
Hey, the coaches tell him where he's going to fucking play.
Well,
Zach Thomas
I
will
mean,
say
yeah,
where he's
I
going
mean,
to
if you
play.
want to take that route, we could do that for the next 2 years, and then he's gonna say bye. Um, I,
So you meet him in the middle.
if we
You
move
pay
him to
him.
center, like I think it could be good for the team overall, but I could also see like financially, it's just like, all right, like he's shown he can play right tackle well. He's shown he can play left tackle well in his rookie year. Um, let's just lock down a side and pay the guy. I think it might be a smoke screen that was put
It
out,
could be.
but
It
who
very well
knows?
could be. I feel like this draft, this mock is kind of predicated on us moving him in. I think, as you'll see as I'm going forward, I went back and forth. I'll talk about some other players that we could take if we don't go that route as well. Round two, this one's been a lock for me. Edger and Cooper. He might not even be there at 41, but you mentioned earlier we have the hole at linebacker. This guy has stood out on tape. I know Peyton Wilson is like neck and neck with him for that top inside linebacker. I think given the age of Peyton Wilson, I think he's already 24, as well as some injury history there. Kind of pushes us more towards the Edger and Cooper pick if we're going to take one this high. I love this guy's tape, man. He looks like Ray Lewis out there almost, like a college level Ray Lewis. The guy can hit. I think he's fast. 4.540 time, 9.3 RAS score. He's 6'2", 230. He can play sideline to sideline. I want to see this guy right next to Quay Walker in that defense. I think moving Quay to like the Mike and then having this guy as the true inside linebacker, that'd be a fun defense to watch. He can over pursue at times. He needs to add a little more size. He's a little bit wiry still, but kid can hit for the size he's already at. And Cody, I think you like Edrin Cooper as well. So
Yeah, I do. And I've done a lot of mocks, taking him at 41. I know he was one of the very first guys that the Packers brought in for a top 30 visit. Sometimes those are smoke screens, but sometimes you want to get to know a guy deeply to see how he fits in with the team. I also watched tape on him. Didn't take extensive notes with Cooper, but what I wrote down, instinctive plus coverage plus blitzer, could have better pad level. Pad level is something that can be corrected with coaching.
yep.
But I mean, he's shown coverage skills and blitzing skills, and just like the instinctiveness to, like, he knows where the holes are opening up and he goes to fill them. I'd be very happy with this pick.
Not to mention, you mentioned his coverage ability. He's going to be asked to cover some pretty good tight ends in the NFC North, by the way. So,
Oh yeah, oh
um,
yeah.
having a guy like Cooper, especially if we move Quay to the Mike there, makes this all the sense in the world. I would love it if Cooper's sitting there at 41. If I'm running to the board at 41, taking this guy. 58. Mentioned earlier, we need a safety. I want all over the board on this one. There is if we don't get Cooper to Gene, this guy is one that I feel really fits the Packers system. Uh, Tape is awesome on this guy. He's not as talked about as some of the other safeties, but great RAS score. Goot loves his RAS score. He's 6'2", 206. He's 4.440 time, 39-inch vertical. He is versatile. He can play at all three levels of the defense, but he becomes more effective the closer to the line of scrimmage he becomes strong, which is what I feel like Halfley has said in his presser, where the other safety is going to be more asked to be like in the box as like almost an extra linebacker a lot of the time. So which kind of reinforces like a Jamal Adams type of safety. Cole Bishop fits that mold. Xavier McKinney is going to be the back guy. He's going to be the Darnell Savage type player for us, where he's going to be the field general back. Bishop's going to be asked to move up a whole lot if we take him. He can be a little bit stiff in coverage at times, which but a lot of upside there. you get a chance to watch some tape on Cole Bishop, watch it. I think you'll like what you see there. I'd be happy with this pick on day two.
Yeah, so Bishop is a guy, I love his measurables. Like that's what I'm looking for in a safety. Uh I didn't have the chance to watch his tape. I was just like trying to prioritize who I had time to look at. And one of the factors I was using was Pro Football Focus grades for the last year. And
Say about Pro Focus.
Bishop actually, well, yeah, you always got to take it with a grain of salt. You know, their grades can be a bit wacky sometimes, but Bishop scored pretty low last year. And like I said, I haven't watched his tape, so I can't speak intelligently on it. But I do wonder if he's the sort of guy that's like he'll be a special teams demon, but never puts it together as a defensive starter.
So the other player I liked a lot here, I don't even know if he would be here though, is Javon Bullard, the safety from Georgia. I know a lot of people mocked Tyler Newman, the safety from Minnesota, to us. If you look at his like RAS scores,
It's like
tough,
a two
terrible.
something.
Yeah, terrible. I don't think Goot, I think Goot doesn't even have him on the board. Um, I'd be happy with either Bishop or Bullard based on Bishop's ability to play in the box and Halfley making comments about the strong safety needing to play up in the box more in the system. Kind of pushed me towards Bishop on this pick. Um,
Yeah, I did watch tape on Bullard, and just real quick, the notes I took on him. Great closing speed and brings the wood. Strongest in man coverage, sloppy tackler, and doesn't seem well suited to a deep role. So it's a bit of the Darnell Savage conundrum of like he's not great deep, but he also has poor tackling form. So it's like ideally you want your in the box safety to be a strong tackler. Uh, but that could be something with more coaching. He gets better technique because like when he does wrap up well, like yeah, he hits hard, man, and the closing speed. I do think there's a lot to like about Bullard.
and he's a Georgia Bulldog,
Yep.
and we love our Georgia Bulldogs on defense. Um, so again, this kind of my day three picks. This is third round is an interesting one. We can go in so many different routes here, depending on what we do. Um, for this one, I'm going with Patrick Paul, the tackle out of Houston. Um, we got our, Rasheed Walker played good for us at left tackle, and I think that he's going to be the star going in. However, I don't think that his job is like 100% safe. It's not like he's a guaranteed bona fide like starter for us. I think his job can still be lost. And if we move Zach Tom inside, if we do, that just makes tackle even the more important position. So I could see us grabbing two tackles fairly early. Patrick Paul fits the mold for another elite tackle. Um, he's 6'7", 331, 975 RAS score. This is the guy who ran a 5.1340 time. He can get to that second level on those screen plays as a tackle and lay the hammer. 30 reps on the bench press, pretty impressive. And then if you watch tape on him, he just brings an edgy type mentality to the line. He's just gritty. He almost reminds me of who's that guy for the Bills and the Dolphins? Richie Incognito. Remember how he would just kind of like bring the hammer, that grittiness to the line? Reminds me of like a Richie Incognito on the line. Good athletic ability, great length. Can be play a little too upright at times and needs to learn some better leverage, but those are kind of some coaching things. Be pretty pumped if we got Patrick Paul on.
Yeah, I mean, if we had Amarius Mims, Patrick Paul, and Rasheed Walker, that is a lot of large humans at tackle there.
Going forward, round three. This one I flipped around with a little bit. I did look at Braylon Allen here. He was the running back from Wisconsin. He's kind of like an AJ Dillon replacement thing. I know we have AJ Dillon, but we're seemingly moving him to like fullback. I also looked at Devontae Walker, the wide receiver out of UNC. I know receiver is not a major need for us this year, but this guy we brought him in for a visit, by the way, which should tell you something. We burned the
Devontae
top pretty.
Walker.
yeah, we burned a top 30 pick on Devontae Walker. And if you watch tape on him, awesome. Kind of reminds me of Dontavian Wicks a little bit. Like,
Dude,
awesome.
I mean, I remember early in the offseason, I saw some mocks with Walker at the end of the first.
Yeah.
And then, like, I always pay attention to the guys who, when the college season ends, they're being projected high. And then you get into the underwear circus of the combine and everything, and they fall. And it's like, no, that's still a good football player.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's an
Yeah.
interesting
Watch
name
some
to keep
tape
an eye
on
on.
him after this podcast. I want to know what you think about Devontae Walker. I love him. I love him the same way I liked like Dontavian Wicks last year. I just don't. I know that receiver's not a big need for us, so I don't know if we go that route, but I don't want him to go to another team. Like I don't know. I went with Bernardo Green here. Um, the Florida State corner, outside corner. He's 6 foot, 186. Not the best RAS score, but 40 times R8. The best thing I like about Ronaldo Green is many say he's the best press corner in the draft. He's scheme versatile. He can play inside for slot, but he's got great short area quickness and he's a great tackler. Jeff Halfley said that he's going to put his corners on island and they're going to press a lot. This is your best press corner in the draft right here. I don't know how Eric Stokes is going to bounce back. And I know we need some cornerback depth. We brought back Valentine, and Valentine's still on the roster, and we also re-signed Nixon, but we need some more corners in this draft, at least two, I think. Green is the pick here. His weakness is he's so physical that he could be flagged a lot for holding pass interference at the next level. It's something that's going to need to be coached. But
Yeah.
super physical and gritty. I like him. I'd love if we got him.
Yeah, so before I jump into Green, because I did watch his tape, I just back to Walker real quick. If we do take a wide receiver in this draft, I think it's going to be on day 1 or 2.
Ooh,
Because anything
wow.
less, like they're not gonna crack our top 6 because we have so much depth at receiver right now. So if you want a guy who's gonna make the team, he's gonna have to be taken relatively high. And I can see an argument for it with how often Watson has been injured, but that's a conversation for another day. Renardo Green, yeah, I'm a big fan, man. I'll just read you the notes I took watching this tape. He's a physical warrior who makes receivers work for every catch. Very strong press coverage skills. Punishing tackler. His aggression will get him flagged downfield, and he has little zone experience, which makes him a bit of a wild card at the NFL level. I think he's probably going to take a year or two to develop, but I definitely think he could become starter material.
That's
Yeah, dude,
actually
his
perfect.
physicality just pops on the tape.
It's actually perfect because we're going to probably give Eric Stokes as many chances as we can to let him, be that other starter. But he's almost come to the end where we got to decide about his fifth year option or not. So why not grab a guy like Green? And if Eric Stokes doesn't pan out, you don't got to pick up that fifth year option. You got a guy like Green willing to take over. I love it. I'd be super pumped if we got him right in this exact spot. This next one, did I go with? Okay, it's gonna be we're gonna need another running back. We lost Aaron Jones. Josh Jacobs is gonna be all cow running back. We did bring back AJ Dillon, but there's talks of him maybe moving to more.
This motherfucker is 1,221 pounds. That's insane.
Oh, oops,
He runs
200.
a 4.33 at that weight.
I told you I put
He's
this
making my
together.
first round pick.
Put this together so fast. He's 221 pounds. That's a solid frame for a running back. 221. My bad.
That's a great frame. Like Aaron Jones was,
Yeah. Oh wow,
what,
his
like
his
208 maybe?
RAS score was messed up too. My bad. I really messed this guy up. So he started off at Wisconsin. That's the picture I got him beat, but he finished his career at Louisville. What I like about him, this if you want a premier athlete at running back, which is an athletic position, this is your guy, man. A 9.98 RAS score, best in the draft this year. 4.33 40 time. He's an amazing athlete. Has home run speed. breaks through arm tackles. He's a tough runner too. He's not just like all speed and like he's 221, 6 foot. He can hit you, man. He's great lateral moves and tight spaces. He can also catch. Um, One of the weaknesses he kind of like bounces things. He's not patient enough. Like, but he'll learn that with time and coaching. And if you want like a draft crush, like last year it was Dontavian Wicks and we got him. My draft crush this year is Isaac Grando. Like I wouldn't even be
Let
mad if
me
we
ask
take him
you.
like day 2. So he might
Well,
not
so
be
let
there
me
now.
ask you because I didn't watch any tape on Garando, but I'm definitely like I'm aware of how athletic he is and very intrigued by that. Uh, can you think of like when you were doing this mock, if there were any other running backs on the board when you took him? Any comparables?
The other running back that I had targeted and I had in my mock was Braylon Allen, the running back from Wisconsin, which is a completely different running back altogether. He's
Yeah,
more
I
blue.
think Allen's too close to what we already have. Like we need
Yeah.
a home run hitter to complement
This is it.
Jacobs and Dillon.
We did bring in, I think it's the running back from Oregon. He like slips my name. He's more of a
Bucky
smaller
Irvin?
running. What's that?
Bucky Irving? Is that
Yep.
it?
Bucky Irving. I think we did bring him in for a visit. He's a shorter back. He's under 6 foot. Um, he reminds me of more like a almost like a Darren Sproles type player, which I could see us having a need for that. But if you're looking for like another like Aaron Jones, lightning to Josh Jacobs isn't a thunder running back. He's lightning too. He's the whole package. He can do both. But Garando, I don't know, man. Just watch tape on him. I want him. I hope we get him. We probably got to take him on day 2 if we want him. He's probably not sitting there at pick 126. I'll be honest. So, um, round 5, went with another Florida State corner, man. I went with Jerry Jones. Uh, Projections have him going anywhere from rounds 3 to 5. I'm putting him in round 5 because his RAS score was a little bit lower. But just like how Green was the best press corner in the draft, Jones is labeled as the best slot corner in the draft. And I know we gave Nixon that pretty big contract for $6 million. We're not paying a kick returner $6 million. He's gonna start off as the starter, but I know it's a 3-year deal, but we're gonna give Jones a chance. If we take Jones, I mean, we could
Yeah.
transform our defense with this. So I don't know if you're familiar with Jerry Jones, but he's been in my mock almost all the time and all the versions I've done.
Yeah, I haven't watched any tape on him, but I've heard similar things that he's one of, if not the best slot in the draft. And I share your concern about Nixon. Like, yes, the contract we gave him, like that indicates that we think he is going to be our starter for the next few years. I certainly wouldn't mind giving him some competition.
Yeah. Round 5 is a good area to give him some competition. Slot corners can be found a little bit later in the draft. They don't need a premier position. Jerry Jones would be my pick. All right, we're winding down here to the end here. Round 6, Tyron Hopper, another linebacker. I've only had one in my mock. I think we come away with at least 2. Hopper we brought in for a visit. We showed some pretty good interest in Hopper. He's a middle linebacker from Missouri, 6'2", 231. Not the best RAS score, 7.38, but 4.540 time. Strengths, he flies off the ball, attacks linemen with force, has the speed to go sideline if needed, and he works past blitzes. Weaknesses, I mean, if you're a 6th-round linebacker, you're going to have quite a bit of weaknesses. Coverage is an issue for him right now. He's a hard hitter, but he does need to improve his tackling security. He kind of will go for that big hit too much and kind of just miss tackles and stuff. But smoke screen or not, we brought him in for a visit. Probably pays dividends, at least for a little bit. Hopper's my pick in round 6. So
Yeah, like all the mocks that I did, if you like end of the third, early fourth, kind of like all the potential starting linebackers were gone, and the rest are guys are that you're hoping to develop, or like maybe they
Yeah.
can play in a rotation. So yeah, it's kind of the nature of the beast when you're getting to the back end of the draft.
We need bodies. We're going to need bodies at the inside line
Yeah,
position. This is a body with some upside, man. Uh,
that's all you can ask for at this point.
the other 6th round pick, Cedric Johnson, edge rusher. Here's also kind of maybe your defensive lineman a little bit. I know it's more on the smaller side, but he's primarily more of an edge rusher. 6'3", 260, 9.67 RAS score. I think we also brought him in for a visit as well. Tape on him looks good, passes the eye test. Enagbari is going to start the year off on the PUP. Not to mention Preston Smith is getting another year older. Cedric Johnson's just going to be another draft and develop player on the edge. I at least want to always take a stab at edge in every draft we do. I don't ever want to neglect it for a year. Here's your edge with a later round pick. Throw them into the mix and provide some competition there to the rim. So,
Yeah, I mean, I like the size. Most of our edge guys are a bit bigger, up in the 270s. I think we could use a guy a bit lighter and faster.
yeah. Round 7, we brought him in for a visit as well. I think we might even brought him in for multiple visits potentially. Chitin Oladapo. He's a safety. He's a pretty. He's 6'2", 216, 816 RAS score. By the day 3 picks, I stopped doing weaknesses and stuff. I want to get to our mock draft. So there's our another safety to the room that puts it at 4 now with Anthony Johnson Jr. and we're good to go for there. And then round 7, we showed a lot of interest in him. Bryce Gallagher, linebacker from Northwestern, 6'2", 216, 816 RAS score. A lot of people have him as an undrafted free agent, but we might take him with our last pick just to make sure that he's a Packer. So there you go. There is my best guess at what we do in the draft.
All right. Well, so I'm just trying to think of the recap. So you did Mims, Cooper, Cole Bishop, who was the first third rounder?
Patrick Paul.
Patrick Paul. And then
Before you go any further, I did put Cooper. I originally had Cooper Beebe there. He's a guard from Kansas State. All right. I switched to Patrick Paul. But just so you know, did have a guard there. And then I had after that, I did Renardo Green to close out day 2. And then I did Isaac Garendo to start off round 4. Round 5 was Jarian Jones. Round 6 was Tyrone Hopper. Other 6th-round pick was Cedric Johnson. 7th round was Chitin Oladapo, and then Bryce Gallagher. Very defensive centric. Also throws some offensive line help early in the draft, and then very defensive in the 2nd round. We throw in a running back on day 3 as well. So.
Okay. Yeah. No, I dig it. That's a solid draft. I wouldn't be disappointed with that. Here I will rapid fire through one of the drafts I did that I like, that also seems somewhat realistic. You know, sometimes you get the dream drafts where it's like, oh man, this one's insane, but it's like, you know, it's not going to happen in real life. So I'll just go through real quick. So first round, I had Cooper DeJean fall to me. And he is a guy I watched tape on. So to give some quick notes, instinctive ball hawk, fast and shifty in the open field. He can tackle, but isn't enthusiastic in the run game. He has very little press coverage experience and is more of a read and react zone guy than a mano and mano shutdown corner. I like him a lot more as a safety than a corner. His limited man, like the tape I was watching, and they pointed this out. Like this is like a Joe Barry wet dream. Dude is always 10 yards off the receiver. That concerns me if he's playing corner, but if he's safety, less of an issue. Safety, I think he could be the best safety in the draft.
Yeah,
Very just like he's a ball hawk, man. He just makes plays.
we could have
Um,
ourselves Harrison, the Vikings, on our hands right there. We moved him to
yeah,
safety.
yeah. So he was my first. Then at 41, I took Kingsley Suamatia,
Yep,
whatever his name is.
I'm familiar with
Uh,
him. Yep.
yeah, he's actually Penei Sewell's cousin. Plays offensive tackle, and I think he can do tackle in the pros, but I think we could also kick him inside the guard if we want to get him playing earlier. Um, and uh, and then the second rounder at 58. I was really hoping that like Edgerrin Cooper or Peyton Wilson would fall to me. They had shown up there in several mocks I did, but this one didn't happen. So I took Cedric Gray as a
Okay.
consolation prize. And he's another guy I watched some tape on. Fast, ball magnet, can cover, tackle, and blitz. Can be overly aggressive, and he doesn't have the frame to shed blocks. So for him, I think he's exclusively a will backer. I don't think he could play Mike, certainly not Sam. But if we put Walker at the Mike, I think Cedric Gray could. He'd be an exciting will. It has still needs to grow with his technique, but he's got the physical tools. Then to reinforce linebacker at 88, I took Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Oh, you went with
Um,
Trotter, huh?
yeah, and actually, he is a guy I did not have the chance to watch his tape, so I was just purely going off a reputation there of like, hey, he's the son of a multiple time Pro Bowl linebacker, um, and
One more.
I've heard that he's like a high effort guy.
You're gonna tell me that we took Frank Gore Jr. too?
No, I didn't take him. At 91, I brought in some competition at center with Wisconsin's Tanner Bortolini.
He's an interesting one. I looked. I didn't see tape on him, but I looked his draft profile up. What's he look like on tape?
I hadn't checked it out. I only looked at offensive line tape for a select few guys because it's just difficult to gauge offensive line tape.
Yeah.
And when you got limited time, I was trying to watch guys that I could form a better opinion of. But I've heard good things about him, and I think we do want some competition for Josh Myers at center. Then going to the fourth round, 126. Here's where I get my first help at cornerback with Cam Hart out of Notre Dame. He is a guy that I watched some tape on, and he's kind of he needs some coaching to get better because he pays too much attention to the receiver and not the ball, so he's not in position to make a play on the ball a lot of the time. He does have inside outside versatility, but he could be more physical. I don't know. He's a guy who like when he flashes, he really flashes, but he's inconsistent. But as a fourth round corner, take a shot on him. And then my fifth rounder, I love this, and this is why I was asking about your comparable running backs earlier. I had Jalen Wright out of Tennessee
Okay.
fall to me in the fifth, and dude, all right, so this guy, the tape I watched of him, let's see here. All right, Jalen Wright, elite speed and burst. He explodes through the hole and absolutely destroys the angles that defenders take. He's shifty in the open field. He displays adequate power, but he generally tries to avoid contact, and he needs to grow as a blocker and receiver. Like to me, the most exciting thing about this guy is like he's just a defender can have him dead to rights in the hole, and he's so fast that he just obliterates the angle. So like he's got to get better at his blocking and receiving. I would like to see him be a little more physical, but you can't teach that speed. He is a home run hitter. I love this pick.
All right,
Then in the
so our
sixth,
homework is when you go to bed tonight, you throw up Isaac Guerrero on TV before you go to bed. I'm going to throw up Jalen Wright, and I'll
okay.
message you in the morning, and I'll be like, I'll let you know if I like him more than Guerrero or not.
All right, all right.
Interesting. Okay.
Uh, then the sixth round, seventh round, I won't go into too much depth here. I got some more safety depth with Utah safety Sion Vaki.
You went with the other
Then
Utah safety, huh?
what's that?
You went with the other Utah safety, huh?
Yeah, well, Cole Bishop wasn't around anymore. Seventh round, just trying to get some. Just took the highest edge rusher I saw on the board, Eric Watts. To be honest, I don't know anything about him. Then I took some more offensive line depth on the interior with Kyle Hergel, who actually played at Boston College, so he's got that connection with Jeff Hafley. And then finished it up with some linebacker depth, Nathaniel Watson out of Mississippi State.
Okay.
Really, those sixth and seventh round guys, you're just throwing darts, hoping to get
Bodies.
someone good.
Bodies. Yep. I also think that we don't have all these picks, by the way. We're absolutely going to be trading.
Yeah.
I expect us to probably come away with about 8 or 9 draft picks. What that looks like, I'm not sure, but yeah. Um, yeah, so we'll get into I like yours. I wouldn't be upset with I mean, I like mine better, but yours ain't that bad. Um, so we'll get into our mock draft here in just a second for all 32 teams. Up Devontae Walker after this as well. Let me know what you think about him as a receiver. I mean, I want him really bad. I just don't know where he fits into our emerging amazing receiver group. Maybe as a Romeo Dobbs replacement or something. Like a Dobbs going on year, but he's only on year 3. He's still got 2 years to go for us. I don't know. But all right, let's just talk for another day. All right.
Well, just sorry, real quick before we dive into our draft activity here, I do want to just take a few minutes to ask, are there any guys that you really like or really dislike that we haven't had the chance to talk about yet that have been kind of associated with the Packers in some way?
Um. Yeah. There was. I know. We didn't talk. I didn't talk a lot about defensive linemen. But let's see. What's some guy? Rook Okamura or whatever. He's got a really tough last name to say. He's a monster among men on defensive line. I liked him a lot. I just don't think that he's going to go earlier than where I probably would want him to go. Like we went that route. Um, Zach Zinter, the offensive lineman from Michigan, um, was another guy I liked a lot. We brought in Michael Hall Jr., a defensive tackle out of Ohio State. That would be like a second round pick, I believe, for us.
Yeah, I liked his tape.
We brought in Jaquan Shepard, a cornerback out of Maryland. I didn't get a chance to see much tape on him, but he'd probably be a day 3 pick. Who else did I go through? Ray Davis was the running back that we brought in for a visit. He's a running back out of Kentucky. I did not love the tape on him that much. A guy I did not love, by the way, is Kool-Aid McKinstry. People are going nuts. I love
Really?
him. Sorry, I love him.
Really?
Yeah, I love him.
Dude,
Not,
I
not as like a
liked
first round
Kool-Aid.
draft pick, man.
Dude, I thought he was sticky as hell in coverage, and like just he used his hands, always playing for the ball. I mean, I know he doesn't have like elite speed or anything, but I thought, dude, he was like give me Rasul Douglas vibes.
So it's the speed that kind of gets me because he's going to be asked to play against some pretty fast receivers if he gets beat deep. And we're press covering so now with Jeff, so it's not like he's going to have that 10 yard buffer zone anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah.
For that reason alone, I didn't love him because he doesn't have that catch up speed. Um, Trevin Wallace, a linebacker out of Kentucky, was a great player with a good RAS score. It's a day 3 pick I liked. And Mason Smith, defensive tackle from LSU. Um, he had a 8.98 RAS score, which I thought he was a promising prospect as well. Also, there's Chris Jenkins Jr. I really didn't watch a lot of tape on him, but just for the namesake alone, it's like, oh, that'd be cool if we got him. But
Yeah, I did watch his tape. And the thing that impressed me most about him was like his pad level, just like consistently. Like he must have a wrestling background or something. Like this dude gets so low on every snap, and it gives him so much power. Like he's very stout. Like he's never going to be an elite pass rusher, but like he gets very low, and he's got man strength once his hands are on you.
anyone for
Uh,
you specifically that you didn't mention that you like any draft crushes?
yeah, I got a few here. So I'm gonna say the biggest one, and before I watched this tape, I was like, no, man, the injury history, I don't want to deal with this. He's a bit older, there's a lot going against him. And then I watched the tape, and Peyton Wilson at linebacker is the only guy that I call the dog out of all the tape I watched. But heat-seeking missile, high effort, he's a dog. Slight frame though. Do like watching him? I'm like, is this like Luke Kuechly out here? I would be thrilled if we rolled the dice on Peyton Wilson.
He doesn't have that same build Kuechly has, though. He's got to add some mass and some muscle on him to be a keeper.
Yeah. I mean, it's a gamble, but it's like looking at some of the other linebackers, like Junior Colson was a guy. Everything I read about him, I'm like, oh yeah, I like him. Like he's like seasoned vet. He knows where to be. He covers well. And then I watched the tape, and I'm like, this is Blake Martinez. Like every tackle he makes is 5 yards down the field. Like there's no sudden violent aggression like I saw with Wilson or Cooper or Gray. Another guy I think is overrated, Graham Barton. I'd be happy with him as like a third round pick, but sure as hell not in the first. Everyone touts his 5 position flexibility, and then in the same breath they're like, but he won't play tackle. Well, guess what? That means he doesn't have 5 position flexibility. It means he's purely an interior guy, and I wasn't super impressed with him. Jackson Powers Johnson is an interior guy that I was much more impressed
Okay,
with.
so I was just gonna say, watch the smoke screens we put up with Zach Tom potentially, and then we end up taking Jackson Powers in like the first round or something like that, and we just go with a center. Like,
Yeah, no, it's definitely smoke screen season is interesting. Here, any others I got on here? Dude, I think Troy Fautanu. A lot
mhm.
of people project him into guard, but I think he has what it takes to play as a tackle. I'd be very happy if he fell to us. Um, Running backs, people are down on this running back class, but some of the guys I watched, like Jonathan Brooks, if he wasn't recovering from the torn
Excellent.
ACL, this guy is a first round workhorse all day long. Um, Trey Benson, you watch his
Yeah.
tape, the dude does not go down. Like he breaks tackles like freaking Adrian Peterson. Like he's a beast. Um, and then anyone else that jumped out to me, uh, Jaden Hicks, I think could be a good safety target for us. big, strong guy, plays the run like a beast. Like I wouldn't want to see him lined up deep in coverage, but as a box safety, I like Jaden Hicks a lot.
Okay. Um, I keep thinking about the fact you said that we should take a receiver early. If we take one late, they won't be able to crack the roster. I know it's tough to say that because we've had guys like Dontavian Wicks as a fifth round pick end up being better than like a second round picks and first round picks. So like you can, but if you want a receiver, would you be mad if we like traded up for a receiver?
Like who are you? Are you talking about like one of the big three?
I, I would assume it would have to be one of the big three. Like Brian Thomas Jr. is probably like the fourth receiver, and he's
Well,
like,
yeah, I think Thomas Jr. is the most realistic target if we were to take a first round receiver. I
but
wouldn't
like,
want to trade up into the top 10 for
but
one of the
what
big
if
three.
okay, what if like Roma Dunes or Malik Neighbor? I don't think Malik Neighbors falls outside the top 10, but let's say Neighbors or Dunes is sitting there like 13 or 14 or something like that. You trade all the way up and like for a receiver, we probably wouldn't, but I think I'd be mad because I like our receivers way there. I don't know if like not having a wide receiver one kind of works for us. Like, but
Yeah, but at the same time, like you do want a guy that you can go to in the clutch when you know you need a first down. Otherwise, you get Jordan Love throwing across his body and getting picked off at the end of the Niners game. Like I can see arguments for if a top quality, like if a Brian Thomas Jr. fell to us at 25, I wouldn't hate it if we took him. Christian Watson hasn't proven he can stay healthy. Thomas has that same kind of deep speed and size. It's absolutely a luxury pick, but man, that'd be a fun offense to watch.
here's my thinking: if we're gonna trade up for a receiver, trade up for a receiver. Pair Jordan Love with Marvin Harrison Jr. Just go for it. Could you imagine Love and Marvin Harrison Jr. just slinging dimes for the next 10 years, man? For the next 10 years, we just see Love to Marvin Harrison Jr. We have traded in the top
Dude,
five.
I brought this up to you before, and I haven't seen anybody float this idea, but if I'm the Vikings, Justin Jefferson is about to cost them like $35 million a year. He's coming off an injured year. They are essentially going into rebuild mode. Um, I would sell high, man. I would trade Justin Jefferson to get up to the top of the draft and take Marvin Harrison Jr., who's about the closest thing to a sure bet you can get out of a rookie, and just full on start the rebuild with, get your quarterback, get Marvin Harrison Jr., reset the clock. I know it's not going to happen,
So
but I'm just going to laugh when they have to pay
the other
Justin
argument there
Jefferson.
is who's going to throw him the ball? If you're going to trade Justin Jefferson, you might as well use that pick to go get yourself a quarterback.
Well, they already got 2 first-round picks that everyone knows they're going to package those to move up and get a quarterback.
Most likely. Who is it? Cardinals at 4 are the most likely option, but that's also where Marvin Harrison Jr. is projected to go. So, or maybe they package it with the Patriots. If supposedly the Patriots are not. I'm fascinated to see what the Patriots do over the next few years, by the way, because Elliott Wolf is now the GM in New England. So, hey,
Well,
man,
we're
you
talking
want?
about other teams now, so
Let's get into it. That's what I
yeah.
was going to say. We'll talk about these teams as they come across here. So, can you see this? All right. Well, I think this is an easy ass pick now, man. It's the Bears. They're gonna take Caleb Williams, man. I know there's some talk that Drake May is. There's some people out there that think Drake May is has more upside and is more of a safer pick, but it's Caleb Williams, man.
Yeah,
Hopefully he's a bust, but
there's no debate.
Washington, I think so. Washington is bringing in like three quarterbacks all at the same time this week. It's like Drake May, uh, who was it? Who was the other ones? Jaden
Jaden
something.
Daniels.
Yeah, and then they're also bringing in a third quarterback. I think it's Drake May. It's the pick here. They need a quarter.
I disagree.
No? All right.
I think Jaden Daniels, based on the fact that Cliff Kingsbury is their offensive coordinator, and Daniels has a lot of similarities to Kyler Murray in terms of the dual threat game. And Kingsbury had some success with Kyler Murray. I think he might try to replicate that style of dual threat quarterback.
Here's what I think we should do this year. It's a little bit different than what we did last year. It's because we kind of debate these and we try to come up with something. All the even number picks, we debate it, but you can kind of get final say on who it is. Odd number picks, we'll debate it. I get final say on who it is.
Okay.
All
So
right,
you get the Packers pick, you son of a bitch.
no, we're 25. Oh, it is. Yeah, we do get the odd one then. I will suspend it for 25. We'll talk. So you think Jane Daniels? Okay, we'll go with Jane Daniels, which then leaves Drake May falling into the Patriots' lap, which some say
Yeah.
that they're going to trade, but probably Drake May to the Patriots then. I would say that.
I mean, there's been some smoke that they like JJ McCarthy, but like I think May's physical tools. Yeah, I think you go with him.
Then we're at 4 Cardinals. This is where it can get interesting. So, this is a spot where I think you can finally start seeing some trades. Cardinals have quite a bit of holes that Marvin Harrison Jr. is not going to be able to fill by himself, but he is a generational talent. And why not give Kyler Murray a bona fide weapon to see what he can do? But what do you think?
Yeah. All right. So like realistically, I think this is absolutely a trade. Like either the Giants, Vikings, Broncos, or Raiders are going to try to move up. But that just gets too complicated to do
I
trades
think
here.
I think you can trade this with like the Giants to get an extra pick and still get and then you still either get Harrison Jr. or Neighbors at 6. So
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a trade, but just for the purposes of this mock draft, we'll keep it simple. No trades. Marvin Harrison Jr. slam dunk.
okay. The Chargers, who also just gutted their receivers, by the way. Their number one receiver is Quentin Johnson now, who vastly underperforming, almost looks like a bust in his rookie year. Suddenly has Malik Neighbors sitting on the board there, and I know they need help all across the board, but Neighbors is the real deal to me. Some even have Neighbors as a better, like projected as a better pro than Harrison Jr. I'm taking Neighbors here. What about you?
I think there's been some interesting debate about how Jim Harbaugh likes to build through the trenches, and that if he's trying to like replicate his Niners teams, that he would take an offensive tackle here. But the fact is, they need receiving talent. They traded away Keenan Allen. Mike Williams is a free agent. As you pointed out, Quentin Johnson is looking like a bust. I think Neighbors is the pick.
I think it is too. We'll take Neighbors here. Giants. This is where it gets interesting because, like, what they do here is kind of can shift the draft at this point. Like, do they take a quarterback? Do they give up the Daniel Jones experiment, take a quarterback, and then he's all but done? Or do you go with, Joe Alt and build that lineup more, pair him with Evan Neal. Evan Neal and Joe Alt be a pretty good, formidable bookends. Do you go with another receiver? They vastly need a receiver. Is it too early for a guy like Roma Dunes?
Well, all right. So let me ask you this: who are the New York Giants receivers right now?
Well, they did go out and sign. The fact that I even got to think about this tells you all that you need to know about the receivers. But I believe Wandale Robinson and Jalen Hyatt are probably their receivers right now. Their best
So they
receivers.
got two very tiny guys. I don't know that. All right, so if they have another losing season, I could see the team cleaning house and firing the coach and GM. So fourth best QB on the board, that's not going to save them. They've taken a lot of offensive tackles high in the draft, and it hasn't worked out well for them. I don't know. They just don't evaluate offensive line very well. I'm gonna say Rome on Dunes.
Dunes. All right.
Give him a big receiver to go with the small, speedy guys.
3 receivers in a row. So 3 quarterbacks in a row, 3 receivers in a row. And that brings us to the Titans, who are going through a little bit of a renaissance. First year without Derrick Henry. Also, some questions, I think, at quarterback. I think. Yeah, I know. I could see it. I could see a quarterback going here, to be honest with you. Even
You
though it's
think they
not
give up
immediate.
on Will Levis that quickly?
Oh, well, I forgot they had Will Levis. My bad. No, they probably don't give up on him yet. But they do need offensive line help. Joe Alt's there. He's projected as a super high pick. I could also see them going. Who's the edge there? Dallas Turner could be a pick here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Alabama.
think that they would probably. I think they want to try to support Will Levis more to see if he can be the guy. They brought in receiver help this offseason with Calvin Ridley. I think they probably go offensive line here to try to build up some protection.
Joe Alt would be the pick here then for you.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Brings us to the Falcons. So the Falcons bring in Kirk Cousins. So they're probably projected to throw it a little bit more this year.
Dude, they got Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, the
Like they're
offense.
kind of ready to roll on offense. Like I mean, maybe like it would be interesting if they took Brock Bowers and had like an
A
elite double
two-headed
tight end
monster
set.
at tight end there. I don't see it
But
though. Wow. Hey, by the way, look at where PFF's got Cooper DeJean ranked 8th on their big board. You think this guy's falling to 25? Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah, I don't know. I think Atlanta probably goes defense here. Um, you know,
Why
they
not go with they can go with Dallas Turner and that cheer.
yeah, you can never have enough good edge rushers, and I can't even think of. I don't even know who their edge rushers are right now. I know they still got Grady Jarrett at D tackle, but I don't know their edge guys.
Check it out before we make this pick here. So let's see. Arnold, I can't pronounce it, and Lorenzo Carter.
Sounds like they're taking Dallas Turner. That's what that sounds like.
Yeah, it sure does. So Dallas Turner, you are an Atlanta Falcon. Chicago with another top 10 pick here.
All right, so
Yeah,
I do want to speak up on this one.
yeah.
They're 100% trading back. They've only got 4 picks total in this draft, and this will be their opportunity to get a bunch more draft capital. So I'm curious who would want to trade up, like, because right now the way the board is falling, like, who are you jumping up for? Like, are you worried that the Jets might take Brock Bowers and you want to jump ahead of them, or are you jumping up for a top offensive tackle?
Do you know who this could be? By it's yeah. This could be a in conference trade with the Vikings. We need a quarterback.
Like concerned that the Jets might try to take McCarthy as a successor.
Or the Jets could try to trade back here to try to get some more pieces because Jets don't have a second round pick this year, by the way, from the Aaron Rodgers trade. Move back a little bit, maybe try to get a second round pick. I think you're trying to get in front of the Jets here, and the Vikings have some. I don't think the Vikings.
Oh, shit. This is the deal right here. Broncos or Raiders jumping up. They trade with the Bears so that they can jump ahead of the Vikings and get JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Yeah, I think something like that will happen, but once again, not actually doing trades in this mock draft. So for the Bears,
Hey, by the way, there's four. I just did the trade option. There's four teams interested in this pick: the Vikings, the Broncos, the Rams, and the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think the Chiefs are trading up to
Yeah,
9.
but these three teams need quarterbacks. I mean, Stafford. They still got Stafford in LA, but they could be looking for the future here. Like,
Yeah, I think it'll be a competition between Vikings, Broncos, and Raiders trying to get the fourth quarterback.
all right, so
But
say
yeah, if
Bears keep it. Who are they taking then?
they need pass rush help, so I would say, all right. So if you're picking between Latu, who's probably the most technically refined but has the neck injury, Jared Verse, he's ranked right up there in, as second edge rusher in a lot of the cases. He reminds me of Preston Smith, actually, big, long, powerful guy. Or I could also maybe see Byron Murphy D tackle as a pass rusher here.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see a D line there and just kind of adding to that line there. They don't have too many big bodies there at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I do know they took 2 defensive tackles in the last draft, so I would probably lean toward edge rusher. Um, I'm gonna say Jared Verse because he's kind of similar to Montez Sweat, and they already traded for him, so it shows they like that type.
Um, I'm I'm thinking tackle for the Jets here, man. I mean, I know this could be a spot for like Brock Bowers, getting them a tight end there, but they got Aaron Rodgers. They're trying to like win now. Clearly, their biggest thing was keeping him up. That line was shaky last year. I think they go with line here. I mean,
Well, they did. They brought in like 3 new offensive line starters in free agency.
well,
Um,
also they brought in like Tyrone Smith, who was injury prone at this point in his career. He's on less like he's his best
yeah,
football is
I
not
could see
ahead
this
of him.
being, I could see this being Fashanu, who like probably has the most potential, or like he's one of the highest potential tackles in this draft. But uh, still needs some work in his technique in terms of the run game. But he's, from what I hear, he's just an awesome blindside pass protector. So I could see them going with Olu Fashanu, offensive tackle, because then he could kind of sit and learn behind
Definitely
Tyrone
think it's
Smith.
a. I think it's a take. Plus, you still got their, you still got Brees Hall. They're going to want to feed him a lot this year. Yeah, I'm going with tackling that one. This brings us to the Vikings, who they have JJ McCarthy sitting on the board right now.
Yeah, that's got to be it, dude.
Yeah.
Like Sam Darnold can't be the plan.
No, no, McCarthy, you're a Viking. Which then, brings us to the Broncos here. I don't think that I know the Broncos need a quarterback, but is this way too early for Bo Nix at this point? Could be.
I mean, from what I know of Bo Nix, like he actually seems like a guy who would super fit in with Sean Payton's system. Like he has a lot of Drew Brees similarities in that he's incredibly accurate, high percentage thrower, who just like isn't as impressive at the deep ball. I could see Sean Payton thinking he can win with Bo Nix. But who else is on the board right now for other positions?
We got Brock Bowers, Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell. We got another edge. They do need an edge. Jazan
Dude, the
Newton.
Broncos need everything. Broncos are
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah. They're basically in like a best player available type position, which
Yeah, but dude, like their quarterback room is embarrassing. Like, I think like Jarrett
hey,
Stidham is the
so
starter.
they have Sean Payton. Sean Payton's at that point in his career where he's not trying to like have a bridge quarterback at this point in his career. He wants a quarterback, man. I know it's early for Bo Nix, but you don't hire Sean Payton to have whoever it is as their quarterback right now. Like,
Yeah, and if they try to wait around to get one later, it could
also,
already be picked
also
over.
look who's next. The Raiders, who also need a quarterback.
Yeah, hell, let's do it, man. Bo Nix to the Broncos at 12.
Now this puts the Raiders, who are also in desperate need of a quarterback, but you're probably not taking Radler or Penix at this point. Not with the other talent on the board. Um, they need quarterback,
Uh,
running back. They need line. This could probably be a line pick or defensive line. No defensive linemen have been taken yet. That's you. Yeah, the Raiders literally need everything.
yeah. Damn, dude. How did the Broncos and Raiders, how are they not picking in the top 10? They are two very bad teams.
The Raiders beat us, but
Yeah. Um
um, yeah. I also got this. I also got the ESPN big board here over here, in case you want to look at like, so like, did we take Fatanu? Did he go? JC Latham is up there too,
uh, yeah, I mean there's still a lot of tackles on the board. Um
and they need and they. Who's their running back now? White,
yeah, I think
Zamir White.
yeah, but I mean they won't take a running back this high.
No.
Um
Do you take Brock
their
Bowers?
their receivers are decent because they got Adams and Jacoby Myers. I don't know who they have at tight end.
I think this could
Oh,
be a.
they took Michael Myers. They took Michael Myers last year.
Oh
Um,
yeah, they did. Okay.
yeah, I could see it being offensive line, just like best offensive lineman available, because it is. I don't know if they would take Penix this high,
What
so
about
like maybe
probably
they just.
Fatanu? I would say.
Well,
Or
I don't know. Fuga, I think, is the better run blocker. Which, like, when you don't have a quarterback, you might be running the ball more.
yeah, probably. Okay. I mean, half a
Or,
one.
dude, actually, you know what? The Raiders always have off the wall picks that surprise people. Uh, and JC Latham, like, the Raiders like big offensive linemen, and they've taken Alabama offensive linemen before much higher than people thought they would go, and then they turned
I
out to
did
be
it.
busts.
I just did it. All right. Taking away from the Saints. QB. Wow, there's a lot of QB needy teams in the mid packs here. QB, wide receiver, tackle, defensive line.
Oh, dude, they need offensive line badly.
Yeah. This is probably
Because
where you
they
see either, you know, Fuga or Fatanu, probably Fuaga here, unless you have a.
Uh, yeah, I'm just thinking. Yeah, let's go Fuaga.
Colts, wide receiver, defensive back. So I don't want to burst your bubble here, but I think this is probably where like Cooper DeJean goes.
Really? So I was gonna say Brock Bowers, man. They got Anthony Richardson. You got to give that young quarterback reliable targets.
Who's got odds? Me or you?
You have odds.
I mean, Brock Bowers is a pretty good value here. Maybe I don't know. I'm still in that mindset that first round tight ends aren't good, still aren't good values, but
Well, let's think about their division. Their main competition is the Texans and the Jags. So yeah. I mean, maybe he's trying to slow down some high-powered offenses. I could see it being uh DeGene or a pass rusher. Yeah,
oh,
I don't even
Jelani
know the.
Woods is their tight end. They probably want to get better for that, and they do want to probably give Anthony Richardson some help.
Well, who's on defense? Quiddy Pay, he's okay. All right,
Nick
so their
Cross
edge
and Julian
rushers aren't
Blackman are their
terrible.
safeties, and then their corners are Juju Brent and Dallas Flowers.
Okay, I don't. Those corners sounds like they could use a corner upgrade, dude. Maybe
Yeah.
they go with a Terrian Arnold or Quinion Mitchell.
Well,
Try
even
to
on
slow
ES,
down the Texans and Jags.
you think Terry and Arnold? I could go with Terry and Arnold here.
All right.
Seahawks guard, center, edge, linebacker, safety.
New defensive minded head coach. Coming from the Ravens, who have a long tradition of elite safety play. I hate like
I think
I
this also
haven't even
is Cooper
seen this
DeJean.
mocked before, but just as I'm talking through it, I'm like, this is a Cooper DeJean slot right here.
Yeah, and they're gonna put Cooper at safety because Jamal Adams is, eh, yeah, he's not falling to us, bro. He's not coming to 25. We're not getting Cooper. He's flown up this draft board. This
Well,
is the Cooper.
just real quick before you click on that, just who are some of the other guys on the board here?
At corner or just
Well,
all
no,
together?
just overall board. Just want to take a look
Hold on.
at it.
We got you got Latu, who's still on the board though. An edge rusher would be big.
Yeah, but he's got the neck issue.
Byron Murphy. We haven't taken a single defensive lineman off the board yet.
Who's
Graham
on their
Bart.
D line?
They got Leonard Williams, Jaron Reed, and Draymond. I mean, their line's not.
Oh yeah, that's pretty solid. Yeah, dude, they're going Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean.
Sorry, man. You knew he wasn't going to fall to us. I love him. I want him, but he's not falling to us.
Yeah, bastard Seahawks.
Um, man, you know what? I would love Brock Bowers. He's still sitting on the board. I would love him to go to the Jags, but they do got a pretty good tight end there already. And
Yeah.
Evan, Evan,
Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram.
They just let Calvin Ridley go at wide receiver though, so they could use receiver help. I could see this being a Brian Thomas Jr. spot.
They did sign what's his face though from Buffalo.
Gabe Davis.
He's
Like, come
probably
on, man.
he's probably an upgrade over Calvin Ridley, who was dog doo doo last year, man.
The thing is, all right, so Trevor Lawrence comes into the draft as like this generational, he's going to be the best since Andrew Luck. He has not lived up to that at all. I think they need to start surrounding him with more talent. He's never had a real number one receiver. Like Christian Kirk, not a number one receiver.
You don't need a number one
Uh,
receiver in the NFL anymore. It's not the way the NFL works, Cody.
Listen, man. All right, I am
He doesn't
pounding the
have number
table.
one receiver
I
anymore.
know odds are your number. Odds are your number, so it's your call. But I am pounding the table, Brian Thomas Jr.
I'm not going Brian Thomas Jr. Damn it.
Okay.
I'm not totally again. Let me look real quick, Brian. I don't know. With all these other man, I could see them going on the ins. You know who actually. You know who I see them going with? Latu. Pair him with Josh Allen, who they just gave a contract extension to. Have yourself a nasty pair of bookends. I
Well,
know.
but no, dude. They just took Trayvon Walker as the number one overall pick. What, two years
He's
ago
not
or something?
inside.
He's inside.
Well, let me look.
No, they got him on end.
All right, all right, all right. You're right. I think if you're going to go for the best player, you go for Brock Bowers here for a receiving threat, by the way. But
I mean, I don't hate it. Like Evan Ingram has an injury history, and he's not getting any younger.
well, the Bengals need a tight end next. It's their biggest need. So he's probably Brock Bowers definitely going to Cincinnati probably next. You know what? I don't want him to go just for the sake of this. I want to put Brock Bowers with Joe Burrow and on that offense. So we will
Sure.
go with Brian Thomas Jr. And then we're going to take Brock Bowers for Cincy because I want to see that. I want to see Brock Bowers paired with those three great receivers already, and then let
Yeah,
Joe Burrow cook with some kerosene there. Are you
that could
against
be
that?
fun. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. It's fun.
L.A. Rams. They need a quarterback, but they ain't taking one here. Tackle, defensive line, linebacker, cornerback. I think I could
Dude,
see
I'm
them.
looking at how far Quinion Mitchell has dropped on this
Yeah,
board, and I'm
yeah.
surprised he's still
I'm
there.
thinking corner here for sure.
Um, yeah, and I'm just thinking. So, I mean, their main divisional competition is San Francisco. Um, dude, I mean, Aaron Donald just retired. They could go Byron Murphy at D tackle,
They do
try
need
to beef
line.
up. Yeah, dude, I almost wonder if it's Byron Murphy.
That's good value. There's no defense. Yeah, let's do that. Actually, I'm for that.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking, like, when you're playing the
So,
Niners, you got to
so
stop the run
here,
game first and foremost.
I know they need tackle wide receiver, but Pittsburgh, Quinion Mitchell.
Well, I know they got Joey Porter Jr. Do you know their other corner?
Dante Jackson.
I don't even know who the fuck that is. Yeah, dude. All right, they gotta play the Bengals and the Ravens and the Browns. Sure, yeah. Quinion Mitchell,
However,
I'm on
hold on.
board.
Where's their? I could see a receiver here too, though. They did trade away. Man, they trade away. What's his face? That I love.
Deontay Johnson,
Yeah, where do you go, by the way?
Panthers.
That sucks.
Tough break for him. They still got George Pickens though.
That's it though.
Um,
They got Van Jefferson and Quez Watkins are their other receivers now.
which receiver would they take though? We're definitely down a tier at this point.
Yeah, not many. Well,
Dude, I think that value on Quinion Mitchell's pretty good there.
pair him with Joey
Um,
Porter Jr. for sure.
like I know they need offensive line help.
Well,
Like
you're
a lot
you're
of
even.
times,
You get to make a final call on this. Pittsburgh's usually a defensive centric team.
yeah,
I,
and I'm gonna say with the depth of the offensive line in this draft, yeah, they're gonna take Quinion Mitchell and they'll come back to O line later.
this is the pick I thought that Cooper Jean definitely doesn't get past, by the way. Like, if we want him, we have to move in front of Pittsburgh to get him. So,
Yeah, it's a DeGene is a very Steelers pick. Yeah,
yep. So,
dude, that could
I
give them a nasty
feel
corner
like
tandem.
Miami, I feel like if we're going to trade with any team to move up, Miami's the team that we trade and move up for. Miami does not have a lot of picks later on. They need to acquire picks, and we got picks to give up. They're also not like a major rival. So this could be a friendly-ish move. Also, I believe Miami is the team we trade with to get Jordan Love. FYI, we moved up a couple picks with Miami, and we got Jordan Love from Miami with their pick.
Hmm.
Tight end, offensive line, defensive line. I think this is. They've had some pretty nasty injuries with their edge rushers, but they also need some O line help as well. I think this is.
Well, and they just lost Christian Wilkins at D
Yeah, yes,
tackle.
they did.
Um, they got to beat the Bills in the division.
They probably go defensive line here, actually. Defense. They're going to go defense. Either Latu, Newton. Who else we got in the D line? Fisk. No, probably not Fisk. Too early for Fisk.
Yeah, I would say Newton because there's a big drop off in D tackle talent after that, and Latu's neck injury I think is going to scare teams off.
Yep. Line. Newton it is. Eagles. Wide receiver, linebacker, defensive back.
Wide receiver, what? They got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Um, so they lost Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox. He retired.
Well, they lost Jason Kelsey to retirement.
Yeah.
This could be a Jackson Powers Johnson pick right
Oh
here.
yeah. Yep.
Dude, yeah, and they want to keep the tush push up. Yeah, I think that's a good fit.
So do I. There it is. Um, Vikings need a lot of help. I think it's best player available. I could see this probably being who'd we mock? Who'd we give them earlier? We gave
They
them
got McCarthy.
McCarthy. Well, you got your offensive player. How about your edge player here going forward? Because they lost Daniel Hunter. Hunter's a Texan.
Yeah, they did sign Greenard and as a replacement in free agency. Um,
Or maybe a tackle to help keep him upright, even though it's a.
I feel like their offensive line is decent
Well, it
actually.
says guard and
Who do they
center.
have? Who do they have in the secondary right now? I think their secondary is hot garbage.
No, they have Byron Murphy Jr., who's solid. Yeah, they have Evans, who's not great. Shaq Griffin, Pat Jones the second. Yeah, they could probably use secondary help.
Yeah, dude, they need a corner. Who's available at corner right now?
Nate Smith, near Wiggins, my bad. Or Kool-Aid McKinstry.
I could see them going McKinstry.
Dallas. Wow, Dallas has a lot of needs for a team that was second in the NFC. They lost Tyrone Smith.
Yeah, dude, offensive line is. I could see that being their pick.
So this would be Fatanu, Mims, Graham Barton. I could see them take this. I feel like Graham Barton could be a Dallas pick.
Well, here take a quick look at who is currently starting on their line. Um,
They didn't do
because
anything.
I know they've lost a few guys in the last few years,
They've
but
done
like
nothing on the line. Uh, they have Tyler Smith, T.J. Bass, Brock Hoffman, Zach Martin, and Terrence Steele.
oh yeah, they need line help in the worst way. So I guess the question is, do they go? I could see it being Troy
I
Faltanu.
think it's Vitano for sure. You lost Tyrone Smith, man. You need tackles. I'm taking him.
Dude, that pisses me off. He almost fell to us. I really would have liked him.
Well, this puts us roughly where I thought we'd be at. So Latu's there. There's an edge rusher if we want to go there, but um, Mims, yeah, Mims is there, who I thought could be there. Graham Barton, Nate Wiggins.
Damn,
Tyler
dude.
Guyton, who we brought in for a visit. Do you ever watch tape of
I
Brown?
hate the way this board fell, dude. Like so many guys that I wanted going right before us, and then I feel like it's a drop off. Where to me, it's like it's kind of between like Mims has a bunch of upside potential. Latu could be an absolute beast if his neck is healed, but it's also a bit of a luxury pick for us with having Gary and Van Ness and Smith. Uh, yeah, this is. I wish we could trade back here, but
No one even wants to trade with us right now.
um,
Yeah. I mean,
fuck
Latu
it,
being
dude.
there,
Let's go with the Bulldog, Georgia or Amarius Mims.
I'm telling you, man, I can see it happening. We need attack. We need that. We need an offensive line. Let me real quick.
Uh,
Let me look at the defensive line. See what. Not much, but yeah, Fisk and Jenkins.
it's looking like most positions seem like a clear drop off into like round 2 talent at this point.
Yeah, Latu being there is
I mean,
interesting.
yeah, dude, that one is like it could be pretty nasty. Um,
We we don't. You can never have enough good edge rushers, but like, I'm not like overly concerned as long as Van Ness pans out. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm going with Mims, I guess, man.
yeah, because like if Latu didn't have the neck concerns, I would go that way. But like both of them have questions, and offensive line is a bigger need for us. So let's do
This is the
Mims.
pick. Um, the Bucks who need just about everything. I know the Bucks took. They have a pretty good edge rusher. They took 1 or 2 years ago in the first round. I forgot his name now. Sherab Boyda or something like that.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Um,
Sheboygan or something. I could see Latu probably going somewhere here. They just need good football players.
I could also see an argument for Graham Barton because I feel like they've had some interior offensive line issues with ever since Ryan Jensen got hurt. They lost
Steve
a
Wiggins.
corner. Yeah, they lost a corner in free agency.
They also lost what's his face? Devin
Devin White. Yeah.
Devin White.
Um,
They could go for a
I
linebacker too.
I'm gonna say I think they go defense because now they got to compete with the Kirk Cousins Falcons, and the Bucks offense wasn't terrible last year. Like they were solid.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so for the defense on the board, like, do they roll the dice on Latu or do they go
I
with
think
Nate
so.
Wiggins?
I think they go a lot too.
Well, all right.
The Cardinals, second Cardinal pick. So they got the receiver, a guard, center, D line, corner. Hmm. I can see Graham Barton going here.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that.
I think Graham Barton for sure. They need guard and center, and Barton could probably fill somewhere inside that line somewhere.
Yeah, Graham Barton,
The Bills.
Adonai Mitchell.
I think so too. Yep. Fuck the Lions. I don't want them to have any picks. They don't need more players. Guard center. I don't feel like their line was in I mean their
Well,
line
I think
wasn't
they
great.
lost a guard in free agency.
Yeah.
Um, Dude, what they really need is edge rush help opposite of Hutchinson. But I don't know who is still available right
Chop
now.
Robinson.
Ooh, Chop. I
I've seen
could
some Chop goes to them.
I could see that. They also
Yeah.
still need secondary help. Wiggins is so lean though. He doesn't seem like a Dan Campbell guy.
Yeah. And they they surprise you like with the Jameer Gibbs pick last year. Like they'll just take someone out of nowhere that you don't.
And go down a little further.
Could see them maybe taking Zach Frazier, center.
Uh
Probably not this far.
oh, you know what, dude? Enos Rakestraw Jr. That he is a very feisty corner who I could see fitting the Dan Campbell mold. Um, he played the boundary in college. Some people project him to slot in the pros though, which the Lions don't need a slot because they have Brian Branch.
Says he's an off coverage corner though. Doesn't Dan Campbell usually want to play press?
Yeah, I think that's their preferred coverage. Um, Dude, I would say Chop Robinson.
Ravens. Oh, I could see Wiggins being a pick for the Ravens. Especially
Who
because
does he have?
Humphreys, Dan Humphrey like tear his Achilles last year.
Yeah, he's had several injuries. Um, Although they did just lose Patrick Queen at linebacker, Peyton Wilson could actually Adrian Cooper
Just for the
seems
sake
like
of funness, I want to see Peyton Wilson on the Ravens. That would be fun to see.
yeah, sure, let's do it.
Niners don't need anyone either. Offensive line and corner. Can you see Wiggins being a Steel or a 49er?
Dude, he's thin as a rail, man. I think a lot of teams will be scared away. They desperately need offensive line help. Their right tackle
Low or
got beat like a
interior?
drum all year.
Zach Frazier, Christian
Yeah,
Haynes.
I think they need a tackle more than a guard.
Well, you got Tyler Guyton. I would
Mm, yeah, I could see Guyton.
receiver, tackle, defensive line. I could see the Chiefs going defensive line actually. Probably. I'll just see who's available. Fisk, Jenkins. What about tackle? Who's the best player available? Wiggins, Franklin. New
Well,
Ben.
they did just trade away L'Jarius Sneed at corner. So Wiggins could be an interesting one here.
Yeah, they did trade him away, didn't they?
Yeah, but also like Travis Kelce is old as fuck, and they don't have any other receivers.
Oh, I don't know if they. I was gonna say for a tight end, probably not. But
Well, no, I meant receiver, but I was just saying like the general
what
passing
if
game.
what if the Chiefs trade up, but they trade up for Brock Bowers to keep that great tight end system going? That would be a move that I would love to see.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
interesting for sure. Yeah, what's the receiver board right now?
Franklin, McConkey. Franklin's kind of like he's ranked 29th, and
Yeah, he's kind of like, from what I understand, he's just like a deep ball fast guy though, which like they tried that with MVS and didn't work out.
well, this guy might be a better MVS then. 6'3", 187. He's young.
I mean, I wonder. Mahomes has never really had a receiver like Keon Coleman, who's like a contested catch specialist. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Mahomes is so accurate. It's not like he needs a contested catch guy.
I can see a receiver here for sure. So
Go a little further down. Yeah, I just don't know enough about the second
yeah,
tier of receivers
I
this
haven't
year.
really researched any receivers, so I can't tell you too much about them. It's kind of like
Well, I
taking
guess should we just go with the top guy, Troy Franklin?
All right, so here's our draft then. We ended up with Mims after all, huh?
Yeah, you
How do
mocked
I
it well.
how do I get this off? I don't want this to go away. There it goes. All right. Caleb. And Dan, three quarterbacks went, then three receivers went. Joe Alt to the Titans, Dallas Turner to the Falcons, Jared Burst to the Bears. Man, I do not like the way this draft went for the Bears. Too good. Fashanu for Jets. Both our division rival, all of our division rivals be getting quarterbacks, man. Bo Nix is a Bronco. JC Latham is a Raider. Fuaga is a Saint. Terrion Arnold goes to the Colts. Cooper DeJean goes to the Seahawks. Yeah, man, we're gonna have to trade up way too much to get Cooper. He's not gonna be a Packer. Sucks, but I wouldn't after doing this draft though, I wouldn't be opposed to trading up a little bit. Like as I said,
Yeah.
Miami 21. Miami at 21 would be perfect.
Well,
Brian
yeah,
Johnson.
I mean, looking at guys like, you got like Quinion Mitchell there at 20, Jackson Powers Johnson 22. I know you don't like Kool-Aid, but I did at 23. And then right in front of us, Troy Feltanu at 24. Yeah, I wouldn't mind spending a little bit to just move up a
So
handful of picks.
if we don't move up and the board was looking exactly like it did, are you happy with Mims or would you be prefer to like actually trade back and get more picks, but then also trade back up later in the draft? So like maybe we trade back to like early in the second round, but then we take our picks that we acquired in the trade to move up, and we maybe we have four picks in the second round or something like that. It'd be crazy, but good.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't mind trading back because when I look at the way this board falls, it is literally our pick is when the tier break happens. Like, I think everything before us, I feel comfortable with those guys as first round talents. And then as soon as we get to us, like all the guys for the rest of the round, like, yeah, they could be superstars, but they've got a lot more questions than the other guys.
So it's not the one I want. So Green Bay's got, so our first round pick 720. And we got four. So if we wanted the package, say we want to move up to Miami. Miami's 800. I know it's probably real tough to say that. It's 800. If we wanted to trade with Miami just to that pick, we would probably have to offer.
Yeah, we'd have to offer 91 and they'd have to give us something else in return.
Yeah, something else in return. I mean, if you're like going purely off this, so this and this alone would be what, 850 roughly, which says that we can get to Pittsburgh here. Maybe I could see us maybe being a trade partner with the Rams, given the friendly front office that we have, the relationship there. The Rams could be an option because they have lots of needs. We would probably have to offer maybe 88 and 25 to move up there. So that
Yeah.
would give us, who would the Rams take? Rams
They
took
took
Byron.
Byron
All
Murphy.
these other players after this would be about like a Quinion Mitchell could be available to us. I know this is crazy, but if like Brock Bowers is sitting there at like 19, we just took two good tight ends, but would you take another tight end?
No.
No.
You can only fit so many tight ends on the field.
Yeah. Well, we just put him on defensive line, maybe. What about like Brian Thomas Jr.? What if he's sitting there at like 19 or something like that? Would you trade up for him?
I don't think I'd trade up for him. If he fell to us, I wouldn't mind the pick, but I wouldn't want to move up for him.
So say Cooper DeJean is sitting there at like 19. Trade up for Cooper DeJean? Would you give up your third round pick? One of your third round picks for Cooper?
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it.
I don't think we move up though, but could be.
Yeah. I mean certainly trading back could be a very interesting scenario and just getting a boatload of day 2 picks.
Mm-hmm.
Um we do very good work in round 2 historically. But yeah, this has been fun. I always like doing this because it never turns out like the mock draft industrial complex. Like when you
And
actually start thinking about how teams act in real life, and it
yeah, it's because the real drafts never act this way. And this isn't going to happen either because we're going to have trades, lots of
yeah.
them, too.
I do think one of the more interesting things we did was Bo Nix to the Broncos at 12, and I could see that being a reality.
Yeah, based on the way there's so many teams in the middle of the pack that need quarterbacks. It's wild. The Vikings, the Broncos, the Raiders, Saints.
Yeah, like honestly, like
Kinda. I mean, the Saints have Carr,
from
but
yeah, but I mean, like from 10 through 14, I wouldn't say any of those teams feel confident in like a long-term quarterback situation.
also not for nothing. I know this. I know the Seahawks are okay with um, Geno Smith, but
Geno,
Geno Smith is not the quarterback of the future. Also, they have a whole new head coach now too. That head coach might want his own quarterback in that system. So Cooper, I
yeah.
mean,
Well,
but they're not
there's actually connections. Their offensive coordinator is he coached Michael Penix in college.
Wouldn't that be
So they're
wild if he goes that early? But that could be a
yeah,
day
I
two.
mean, dude, people say he has the best arm in the whole class.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be wild. I mean, that would then take Cooper DeJean further down the board.
Yeah. Dude, oh man, looking at the way this Bears draft falls,
I hate the Bears draft.
yeah, dude, with that D line with Montez Sweat, Jared Verse, and then the D tackles they took last year, like Garvin Dexter, and some other dude. Like that could be a nasty defense they're putting together.
And they're putting together a pretty good offense too.
Yeah.
DJ Moore and Keenan Allen now, and Cole
Cole
Kmet's
Kmet.
going to be pretty solid for them as well now. And then they still have Darnell Mooney now as a third receiver. He's probably a pretty good third receiver for them.
No,
And
Mooney's on the Falcons now.
oh, okay. Well, then I'm fine with okay. News to me. Um, yeah, I've also seen some drafts where like if one of these receivers falls to 9, the Bears take them. So then they just have like three amazing receivers to pair with Caleb Williams, which suck. Also, it would kind of suck if they took Brock Bowers and all of a sudden they have two good tight ends now too.
Yeah,
I
I
hate
mean
that.
they've got a lot of options. I do think they're gonna trade out of that 9 pick though, because they literally they only have 4 picks total
They're
in the
gonna
draft.
they're gonna trade with one of these 10 through 14 teams that need a
Yeah.
quarterback. And
Yep.
so they're still gonna be able to get like they could still get Jared Verse at like 13
Yeah.
and then pick up and then still pick up like a third round pick.
Yeah. Super realistic. Yeah.
So
I just hope that the Vikings burned future draft capital so they could get the extra first round pick this year, thinking they would package them and go get the quarterback they want. And
so
I can't wait to see
hold
some
on.
other team jump ahead of them so they don't get a quarterback.
What could they realistically get with it? So they got 23 and 11. So there's 1250,
Uh,
760. So
2010.
yeah, 2100. That would give them enough ammo to trade with the Cardinals then. If the Cardinals want to go all the way back to 11.
Yeah, I don't. I think it takes more of a premium than the trade charts say
Yeah, so you'd
these
probably have to give
days.
up so they don't have a second rounder and they don't have a third rounder either, by the way. So then you're probably looking at like I think maybe a first rounder next year too. Probably not that rich, but maybe a second rounder next year. Second and third rounder next year, maybe, along with their two firsts this year.
I mean, I wonder if they get really bold and what would it take them to get up to number 2?
I don't think Washington trades out of that, man. Maybe New England does. I think they can
Yeah.
maybe negotiate with New England. To get to New England, I think you're looking at both these first round picks this year and then a premium pick next year. Maybe not a first, maybe not a first, but what did the Texans have to give up to get the second overall pick last year or the third overall pick?
They gave up a future first and more.
With the Vikings, they traded the or was that this year?
Yeah,
Who did
that's
you get
that's the first round
for
pick the Vikings got.
what's his name? Will Anderson. So it was number 12. So there's kind of, yeah, they're around that same thing. So there's your blueprint there. Hate to have to read it. Man, just break. Okay, so third overall pick to Houston. Cardinals got back the 12th in the first round, as well as the 33rd in the second, and a first and a third round pick in 2024.
So
So
that's pretty much 3 first round picks and a third. Like 33rd pick is right there at the
yeah,
first.
so you're looking at both first rounders this year, and probably you can maybe try to spend it for your second rounder next year, but they would also probably potentially give up their first rounder.
Well, I think they gave up their second rounder next year in order to get the extra
Oh
first
boy.
this year.
So they would probably have to go up their first rounder next year. So three first move up to that spot then probably.
Yeah,
But
3 firsts to go get the third quarterback off the board.
if that's your guy,
Well,
all right, man. This was fun.
yeah, this was great, and less than 1 week until the real thing.
We're gonna be able to be on the clock just about this time, 1 week from now. Be a good time. Looking forward to it.
All right, my friend. Well, I will let you go.